states, the local
States
government. Those are the people that could really have direct impact on our day-to-day living.
I don't even believe
but the reality
local government in Nigeria.
they also see we have the governors have actually emasculated them. So they've stripped them of their funds because they try to operate these joint accounts, and the money goes to the state account. The state is the one that distributes to the local government, and at the end of the day, because even former President Buhari, as much as a lot of people might vilify him, he tried as much as possible to give independence in terms of financial independence to the local government. But the governors resisted. And unfortunately, the judiciary subscribed to it. And at the end of the day, that was taken out. Because the president came up with an executive order so that the local government can receive their funds directly. But then, it is what it is.
Well, the president has assured us that by December 2023,
Port Harcourt refinery will come on board.
So maybe that was the reason for the budget, the barrel.
No. Beyond that, the president is actually setting a target of January to December budget life cycle, and he hopes that we can start implementing this 2024 budget from January 1 if it scales through the National Assembly. And unfortunately, National Assembly, what we currently have is more than a rubber stamp. And I'll give you an instance. Beyond the fact that the president made the presentation on Wednesday, the National Assembly came up with the decision that the president's presentation is actually, that is the first reading of the budget. And on Friday, they had the second reading and it passed. Despite the fact that they complained that they don't have details of the sectoral allocations of the budget. They don't have the details with them for them to really do an in-depth debate.
How does it pass it?
And that's the question. It shows quite well that, there won't be any rigorous scrutiny of that budget. Probably beyond the fact that they only add their own, budget padding. And so they'll pad it up, allocate more money for some ministries, especially because of their own oversight, so that they can take care of their own, side of the whole thing, their own side of the bargain. At least when they have taken care of themselves, the budget can actually pass. But then they've set a deadline of December 19 to pass this budget. So you tell me that what serious work will be done probably within 2 weeks in terms of budget defense for all the ministries, all the departments and agencies of government within 2 weeks? Do you think that's going to happen?
No,
but the reality is the budget will pass. We know, because this government, anything the president brings to this National Assembly would pass because of their, the nature of their emergency and some of the things that the president and the current government has also provided them that, I'll give you all that you want. Just allow my people to go.
Go ahead.
Let them. So it's let my people go assembly that we have currently. And unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. Beyond that, the president has immediately he made the presentation. He departed the shores of this country to Dubai for the COP28 climate summit. The COP28 is Conference of Parties. So that in trying to checkmate the effect of global warming. And at the end of the day, there is one thing that that was remarkable at that conference. And that is the fact that the United Arab Emirates is currently hosting, and the president of the country, so these sheikhs, all sheikhs. So at the end of the day, that is one thing that usually happens, and it usually comes at the end of that conference, and that is donation to a fund to take care of the third world countries who are actually more adversely affected by the impact of climate change, in order to provide some things for them, at least as a kind of succor. So they came up with this. So what the president of that is hosting this particular COP28 conference, what he did was to actually bring the last to the fore. And they started the conference actually with that donation.
Donation first.
And coincidentally, they took the lead. United Arab Emirates committed the sum of $100 million to that fund. The United States was reluctant, and that is the highest culprit when it comes to climate change. Those that are actually responsible for it. United States number 1, the European Union number 2, China number 3, India number 4. United Arab Emirates, they were reluctant to even donate. The United Kingdom donated $40 million dollars. The United States, after all pressure, said, well, we would announce $15 million, but that will still go back to the Congress for approval. if Congress approves it. That's the kind of, uh, you know, politics that these world powers play. You are telling the third world countries that they should abandon fossil fuel, which you have exploited for hundreds of years. And at the end of the day, the current experience of global warming we have is a function of it's a consequence of the past activities of these industrialized nations. That's what we are suffering now. So, but you are now trying to put the pressure on those who are currently responsible, those who are still producing now. People like China, you are saying China is the one that is responsible, India, this and that.
Well, we
all know that is not what is currently responsible for what we're experiencing at the moment.
So the past action,
so it's the past action. So now, so this holier than that attitude you are bringing up, when the third world nations have not yet developed, they are still even trying to manage how they can develop with their own fossil fuel. You are telling them to jettison that.
Well,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Kano governorship election, NMPP files appeal at Supreme Court as one person dies in protest over appeal court verdict.
Well, it's unfortunate. The protest in Kano continues, and they are trying to put pressure on the judiciary. And I love the fact that the CJN has actually come out to say that they will not budge. The fact that politicians, when they lose in courts, they will claim democracy is in danger. But when they win in court, say, oh, judiciary is a hope, last hope of the common man. It's unfortunate that you're now saying that, oh, the court is trying to rob the Kano citizens of their mandate, that they voted Abba Yusuf, this and that, this and that, this and that. Yes, if you have any issue, defend it in court. It's not on the streets.
Not on the streets. Because it wasn't sacked on the streets.
Yes. So take your defense, take whatever case you have to the courts. It's not about protest. It's actually about presenting and backing up your claims, with the law.
With facts.
With facts, with evidence in the law court. Although you're saying that should the vote of Kano citizens be rendered, into nullity because of the mistake of INEC, and that has to do with the fact that those over 150,000 ballot papers were not stamped and signed by the presiding officers. But it's also part of INEC guidelines that for you as a voter, ensure that your vote, the ballot paper that you are issued by the presiding officer, is signed and stamped by the presiding officer before you cast your vote. Because if that does not happen, that ballot is invalid. Now, that was what APC presented in court. And eventually, those 150,000 votes were knocked off the total votes scored by Governor Abba Yusuf. And eventually, what is left is lower than the votes garnered by the former deputy governor of Kano State, who happened to be the APC candidate. Nasir Gawuna. And at the end of the day, the court declared Gawuna the winner. That happened at the tribunal. That happened at the appeal court. And now you have already filed your case. But unfortunately, because of the contradictions that also happened in the CTC that was issued by the Kano State Appeal Court Tribunal, that was what led to some of these protests now that, probably someone is trying to rob one person or the other. But at the end of the day, you have already filed appeal at the Supreme Court. So I think it's rather preemptive for you to now start going on the street to, rally, to do protest. Eventually, an innocent person has been killed because in the presence of the police trying to disperse. Again, we also call on our security agencies. We must learn how to manage civil disobedience. Why shoot live bullets at a civil protest?
Protesters.
If you want to disperse crowds, you must develop and adopt, other safer means by which you can disperse the crowd.
Not by shooting.
Not by shooting live bullets. And now, one person, innocent person, I don't mean I say he's a protester, but that's not a crime. This is a democracy, for goodness sake.
Well, may Almighty God
console the families.
Console the family of the deceased one. Dino Milai vows not to challenge Kogi governorship election, calls INEC judiciary subsidiaries of APC.
That is part of the attack on the judiciary we are talking about. And I think it's rather irresponsible on the part of Senator Dino Milai to say that, because ordinarily he has nothing to prove. He came a disappointing, distant third.
A disappointing one.
Yes. Dino Melaya actually did not even show seriousness as far as this election is concerned. So that is it. A lot of people actually knew that it was between Usman Ododo and Muritala Ajaka. And so for him to now say that he will not challenge because the APC what would he be demanding for? That he won the election. Dino Melaya did not even vote in the election. No. So
he did not even vote himself.
Did he vote? He didn't go out to vote. He was on social media all through, saying that they had already discovered a result sheet that was already pre-filled, this and that. That was what he was busy doing. There has never been any video evidence of where he actually participated in the election by voting. He was in his home all through.
Possibly, I didn't know.
Probably he voted and he did not. It was not shown on camera,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Well, no problem. But then I think that if you have any grounds, present it. But he feels like that he should not waste his money or go into court because he doesn't have confidence in the court. If you don't have confidence in the court, then you would rather keep quiet and allow those who have confidence in the court to go ahead. Than saying that you're now calling the judiciary an appendage or a subsidiary of the APC. That's irresponsible. If you also don't have that confidence, then why did you contest in the first instance if you believe that INEC is already an appendage? But on the other hand, too, I think the president too should also watch those he's appointing into INEC, because as resident electoral commissioners, people have raised concerns about some persons that have been appointed as recs in some states, like case of Akwa Ibom State. The person was said to be a sympathizer or a political supporter of the current Senate president, Senator Godswill Akpabio. So these are issues. Government also needs to ensure that INEC maintain its neutrality, because that's very Justice Uwai's Electoral Reform Committee report. It's important because if we don't checkmate, if we don't reform our electoral process, then we can never get it right in terms of leadership in this country, because the political elites know that for as long as they can rig their way into governance, into political offices, forget it. They will never do the right thing for the people. Rather than do the right thing for the people, they will try to manipulate. In fact, master the art of manipulating the election to their favor.
Well, we hope they listening to this and they do the needful. On those states, Ayedatiwa presides over state executive cabinet meeting as House of Assembly with those suits at appeal court.
Well, the confusion in the state continues, and because as of last week they met with the president, he intervened, he met with them, and unfortunately, what we expected the president to do was not what he did. He told them status quo should be maintained. And what do you mean by status quo? The deputy governor should remain deputy governor, and the governor remains the governor, even though he's unable to perform his duties. And that has prevented the assembly from actually declaring the deputy governor as acting governor. On getting back to Ondo State, the assembly went back to say that the deputy governor must actually write and sign a post-dated resignation letter to the assembly, so that in case probably he decides to go against whatever thing they agree, they can actually bring that out and say that he has already resigned. You can imagine that. That's irresponsible. And let us actually go and withdraw our case in the appeal court, because they appealed against the judgment of the court that stopped the impeachment of the deputy governor. So they were trying to appeal that judgment. So eventually, because of the intervention of the president and the meeting that they had, said, well, they will go back and will settle our differences. So their lawyers and the lawyer of the deputy governor met, and they told the judge that the assembly said they are actually withdrawing their suit. So they withdrew their suit concerning that. And At the end of the day, the deputy governor had to now summon a state executive cabinet meeting that has not held since the illness of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, happened. And unfortunately, this was the same Governor Rotimi Akeredolu was the NBA president when President Umar Musa Yar'Adua was actually ill and was flown abroad. And he said the President Umar Yar'Adua should actually tender his resignation so that the vice president can actually continue. Now, in his own case now, he has actually forgotten this position he took, at that time. And that's why you see time, only time will tell. Time is actually a revealer of, the kind of people that we are in this, the personality of people. And at the end of the day, now that he's involved, he's clinging on to power as if instead of him to actually concentrate on his health, he's actually clinging on to power and actually putting a pause to the development of Ondo State, because there has been no development in the state ever since this illness began. And we're not saying that, see, anybody can fall ill. It's human. And nobody is actually rejoicing over his illness. Nobody is saying that he should die. Nobody is actually wishing him death. But we're saying that it is in his best interest. In fact, we're not even saying he should be removed. Just allow... President Yar'Adua was not removed as of then. Of
then, yes.
He was not removed. They only pronounced Vice President Goodluck Jonathan as acting president so that he can take some executive decisions so that the will or progress of the state can actually progress. We are saying that things must move on. Commissioners are misbehaving. Now, look, everybody, we are approaching 2024 and there is no budget for Ondo State. So who's to present the budget? Who's to prepare the budget? Who's to give order that budget should be prepared? A governor fighting for his health? Or the deputy governor that is incapacitated by the State House of Assembly that you are just a deputy governor?
Still a deputy governor.
A deputy governor in Nigeria is worse than a spare tire.
Because there is no...
Ordinarily, because this is ordinarily one of the reasons why you actually have a deputy governor. In case something happens to the president and he's unable to perform his function, the deputy can actually step in to continue. So we are saying that, pronounce him acting governor. In Taraba State, so many years ago, we had Governor Dan Baba Suntai, who was involved in an air crash that affected his brain. He could not, move. He was bedridden for some time. They had to pronounce the deputy as the acting governor. For him to be able to serve out his tenure as governor, even though he eventually died. But then, for that period, he was not removed, even though that should have been a constitutional thing. But we are saying that, okay, we are not saying remove Akeredolu. He is ill. Fine. For now, he cannot perform as governor. Let the deputy governor continue acting in his capacity so that he can appoint people, he can make appointments, he can sign budget, he can prepare budget, he can approve some things. Because there is a limit to what he can approve. As a deputy governor, probably just 500,000 naira or something, or 1 million naira. Anything that goes beyond that, he cannot approve of that. Or, these are some of those, because there is a budget cap to what a deputy governor can sign. They cannot recruit people. So many things that should have been done in those states.
It means the state is in limbo.
The state is in limbo. That's the reality. Just because one person is ill.
Thousands of people.
And the destiny of the people of Ondo State is now hung. It's tied to the health of Governor Akeredolu.
Well, we just hope his family members and they talk to him and so that he can do the needful and
it's actually about those that are trying to. It's actually about the interests of those that are trying to succeed the governor, and they feel that if the deputy governor should actually become acting governor and start acting and probably even succeed the governor, probably their own political interests might actually be jeopardized.
That is just a fact.
That's why they are trying to frustrate him so that he can actually be out of office.
Well, Supreme Court extends the validity of old Naira notes indefinitely as CBN plans freezing of bank accounts without BVN NIN.
That second news, I thought that should have even been done because that was why we were told to do in a link up with also BVN. But now, if you're saying some accounts have not, so I'm even wondering why should they restrict it till March or April next year? Why is it not happening immediately?
They told us then that
many years ago,
that
without your account to be frozen. So why it should have even been frozen, and you now give people deadline that if you don't do this before this particular date, the money in the account probably will be forfeited to the government. That's what I even expect. But for you to now say it is till March or April 2024, possibly, so maybe now probably that's the reality is some of these accounts have were opened surreptitiously, and probably you have some monies in it, and probably they're actually stolen funds. So you're not giving them opportunity to go and withdraw all this money. But as for the first step, because that's the only explanation, that's the only plausible explanation I can give to that. Because I was wondering, ordinarily should such account not have been frozen before now?
Or maybe they are talking about all this mobile banking, all these
microfinance. Are you saying that people would have been able to open those accounts without BVN or NIN?
Yes. All these mobile banking, people can open their accounts with ordinary phone number.
Okay.
So and they can later upgrade with NIN or BVN. So
but then
there is a limit.
If someone opens a bank account with a phone number, the phone number is supposed to actually be linked with a particular NIN. So I don't see that. And if you are now saying that, okay, in the case of BVN, let them go and get their BVN or link it up with their BVN in their normal bank account. So, we hope to see that. But at least kudos to the Supreme Court for doing the needful. So now the pressure on the Naira would actually be reduced. Because a lot of people are already saying what will happen this December. Now people are already holding Naira. So there is no basis for it to hold the Naira. The two would actually continue to
still remain legal tender.
Will remain legal tender. Will continue to spend them simultaneously until probably the government can now start withdrawing the old Naira notes little by little, and you are replacing. So you are withdrawing, you are replacing with new ones. You are withdrawing. That should have been a systematic thing, and not the one going the route of Emefiele that actually punish Nigerians for unnecessarily.
Emefiele remains in jail as court adjourns trial to January 18th.
He was unable to meet his bail conditions. Apart from the 300 million naira, we're also talking about the issue of sureties. And at the end of the year, he's been able to meet up with that. So his case has been adjourned to January 18th. And now, so most importantly, or most likely, so he's going to spend his Christmas and New Year in jail.
Oh, Christmas and New Year in jail? As they told us. Okay.
We hope it is true.
Okay. Automation of international passports application commences in December.
On this, I'll give kudos to the Interior Minister. I think that has been the most active minister.
He has been doing
in the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And it's not just about saying it. He's saying it, he's doing it, and it's also showing the evidence to the people that now you can go ahead.
People are getting passport
very easily. So what he's even trying to tell you is that you can actually apply for a passport and it will be ready. The only thing that will actually take you out of your house, that would actually bring you in contact with immigration officers, is just for capturing of your fingerprints. Beyond that, you have no basis to do anything manually. Everything is automated, and kudos to him. And he said that is actually starting from this December, and from February, that you would even actually start receiving your international passports from the comfort of your homes.
So they would come and deliver it.
Yes. So kudos to him, and we pray that he will continue to record a lot of success in the discharge of his duties. Kudos to him.
Controversy knocks over Benin's foundation of Lagos. Comments by Oba of Benin.
Oba of Benin was in Lagos during the week, and he visited the governor of Lagos, and in that comment he was saying that the Benin's actually founded Lagos, this and that, especially some areas of Lagos, in Lagos Island and things like that. And a lot of people, especially the indigenes of Lagos, especially those from Lagos Island, are actually throwing it back at him that, man, please keep quiet. You are a respected monarch, but you don't have to say what is unfounded. That when you sent, the Oba of Benin sent his chiefs to Lagos, it was actually even more because, it was about conquest, wars, and things like that. That the first settlers in Lagos, especially the area around Lagos Island, were actually their Aworis. So if you go to Oto land, around present day, around Ebutemeta, between Ebutemeta and Lagos Island and Eko Idomota, you actually have the Aworis who first settled there. The only thing was, you only had a Benin prince that was sent in Oba Ado, and things like that. That the first recognized king that came to Lagos Island, was a Benin prince. But it wasn't as if it was a dry land, it was an empty land. He met people there. So they told him he should actually go, not annoy the people of Lagos. That, and a lot of people are now even asking questions. Why is it that everybody is concerned about Lagos or the Southwest? Why is everybody trying to claim ownership of Lagos? The same way, well, probably it's a part of the headlines. The issue of demolition in Lagos.
Yes.
The same way the people, the Southeasterners are also trying to claim that they were the owners of Lagos. That only Igbo is only Igbo. Probably will take it together.
Demolished buildings do not have any approval. Lagos government denies ethnic victimization accusations.
Because there are accusations against the state government that actually targeting the buildings, houses owned by Igbos in Lagos. Let us be specific. That it's only for us actually, paint white black. That's the accusation against the state government. That it is actually a fallout of the 2023 election that Peter Obi won in Lagos during the presidential election, and the fact that they were trying to sponsor Gbadebo Rose Rival, who many believe actually is someone from southeastern extraction trying to claim to be a Lagosian. Whether you claim it or not, is actually a Rose Rival, and Rose Rival people are actually Lagosians. So, but then the issue now there is the fact that whether this demolition has any ethnic coloration to it is another thing, and the Lagos government has come out to say that there is nothing of such. We are talking about people that actually violated environmental laws, that also violated town planning laws. We're also talking about people that erected buildings without approval of the state government. And because of that, the government also came out to say, although people have said that's about that, some of these buildings actually came up during the period of COVID when that was restriction on movement, so that was reduction in oversight, so they could not oversee what people were doing. So a lot of these buildings were rushed and things like that. By and large, what we first need to tell people is that can never be an excuse for you to actually build on drainage channels, on wetlands in Lagos. That, regardless of whatever excuse that you might think you have, that is not tenable. Number two is, for anybody that's actually investing in real estate, you must do what is called due diligence. Investigate the land, whether it is free of government acquisition, whether it is not a government residential area, or so many other things like that. Do your due diligence. Don't just stay because in the comfort of you have the money, just say it's someone to actually acquire property for you, and you did not follow it up to check if at all that area is free and whether it's not even on a drainage channel or whatsoever. So these are things that we need to do. And for those that have done it, then you cannot stop the state government from implementing the laws. But the only thing we only tell the government is, let us ensure that we are not just draconian about this thing. Let us ensure that these things follow due process. I don't even expect it's just the state government that just go ahead, probably without even legal backing, or without probably instituting a case before the owners, or giving them just some hours notice for them to evacuate the property before they are demolished. I think that's too. Even if you are trying to carry out this demolition, let it come with human face. Allow them to evacuate. Give them enough time. So in fact, even allow them the opportunity to defend themselves, to say that no, this is not what you claim to be. And we have, these are the documents we have, these are the approvals we have, and these were the investigations that we carried out, the diligence we undertook, and these were the things that we found out. So to really show that it's not about the fact that you are victimizing these people unnecessarily. And for those who have been found wanting, see, painting it with ethnic coloration will not save you. And unfortunately, an elder statesman, the president of Ohaneze Ndigbo of Nigeria, Chief Emmanuel Wanyao, came out to say something that would also not help the cause of Igbos in Lagos. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. He came out to say that Igbos were the ones that developed Lagos, that Lagos was just an area of swamp, was a swampy land. It was because when it was declared as the federal capital of territory, that was why Igbos moved in droves to Lagos, and they bought lands, free land, swamps, and things like that. They developed into what it is today, and that they are the heroes of Lagos. See, even if you cannot remove the fact that they contributed to the economy of Lagos, but you cannot say they developed Lagos. Saying they developed Lagos, you are saying that even the colonial masters did nothing as far as Lagos is concerned. You are saying that the federal government that instituted Lagos, that made Lagos its federal capital, even before independence, did not do anything in terms of development in Lagos. And these were the same people that are saying that Lagos only became what it is because it was the federal capital. Same sort of people that was saying that, yeah, Lagos is what it is because it was the white men, the colonial masters that developed Lagos. Now, these same sort of people are the ones now also now claiming that they were the ones that developed Lagos. So you are saying that the indigenous not do anything. What then would you say probably even about people from Kwara or Osun or so that also developed different areas in Lagos? What would you say of people like probably in Abule Egba, Egbeda and the likes like that will tell you that it's actually people from the southwest, from Abeokuta that developed those areas? What would you say about people in K2, Ikorodu and so many other areas, Shomolu, where you see majority of people that actually built houses and bought those houses and built those houses were actually the Ijebus in Lagos? What would you say about the people of Badagry up to Ojo, up to Apapa, their worries? So you are saying that these people did not do anything in Lagos, it's only the Igbos that did something in Lagos? Seriously? See, when we make some of these statements, it actually exposes your people to some of these reactions by the indigenous who feel insulted by that. I, for one, am an indigene of Lagos by birth, by origin, by residence, by everything. I'm a Lagosian. And I feel insulted by some of these kinds of statements. But I'm constrained by the fact that this is a public forum. And at the same time, we also need to warn our people that you make people of other ethnicities open to attacks from others who feel insulted by some of these comments. And I'm saying this because I expect a person like Chief Emmanuel Wanyao to say something that will actually bring peace to the land, not something that would incite the indigenes against anybody that is a settler. And unfortunately, you're also now invariably telling us that your people do not also were not calculative in their approach to say that they could not have developed their place and they now have to bring everything to Lagos.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you are making the state government and those who are indigenous to say that at this juncture, we need probably even to review the laws that allow probably for settlers to even have, own a land or some other things like that. Forgetting the fact, let me tell you, even in Lagos, because I also, when I say I'm Lagosian, by everything, even by my education, as a student, there are many people, I have many colleagues that are people of Southeastern extraction. I enjoyed their companionship, I enjoyed their studentship. We interacted, we related well, and we still relate well. Now imagine some of these people benefited from the free education policy of Lagos. Now, have you also now recognized the impact of Lagos on the development of the people of Southeastern extraction? How Lagos contributed to their opportunities for education, to their exposure, to the opportunities that the billionaires that made their money in Lagos, all the people with different companies in Lagos that made their money in Lagos. Have you also given credit to the fact that Lagos allowed them the opportunity to, develop
to be
exposed. And to be exposed and to make their wealth? Even he that is talking, how about his investments in Lagos? So I think for elder statesmen, comments that would make should be comments that will bring peace and tranquility, not just to our, ethnic group,
but to the general public.
To the general public, especially areas where your people live and make their money. It is important.
All right, let's take this before we go. Loot shuts down 5 wards with 150 beds over shortage of staff as doctors.
That's the effect of the Japa syndrome. And unfortunately, the government, if, funny enough, this particular report was made by the House of Reps Committee on Health. So it was a discovery, but they were the ones that discovered that.
That loot has...
5 wards have been shut because of inadequate staff. Doctors, nurses, lab attendants, medical lab scientists, and the likes like that. Now, we are talking about a country that the labor minister some years back said we are even overproducing doctors, that there is no scarcity of doctors in Nigeria, and that there is nothing there. That, in fact, even his own driver, is a domestic aid, is a doctor, and, some of those irresponsible comments that came from the immediate past labor minister. We also had a health minister that says, what is there? The labor, if doctors, those that are medical doctors that are graduated can't get job, they can actually become tailors. Professor Isaac Adewale said that statement. So we've had irresponsible comment from those who are cabinet ministers. Senator Chris Ngige was even the one who was a trained doctor before he became a politician.
Was a doctor.
Was a doctor, medical doctor. So when you hear Dr. Chris Ngige, he's actually not PhD. It's actually he was a practicing medical doctor before he became a politician. For him to now say that doctors, we don't have scarcity of doctors in Nigeria. Now, a whole word, 5 words in Lagos University, that's a tertiary health institution. Tertiary, not primary, not secondary, tertiary health institution. So you're saying that if that could happen at that level, and Nigerians are now suffering because it has worsened the condition of work for doctors. They are overworked, they are overstretched. That you have a doctor going to, being on a ward round for 3 consecutive days.
24 hours.
Continuously.
Day and night.
And you want to get the best out of them.
But what's stopping them from
the reality
employing the new graduates?
See, you cannot throw away experience because you can't buy experience. Unfortunately, it is not the greenhorns that are leaving. It's the experienced hands that are leaving. The specialists, the consultants that are leaving. At the end of the day, where are those that will train the younger ones? Even when the younger ones are not even ready to stay. So at the end of the day, Nigerians are left to their fate. Because these poor people, the rich people, can afford to travel abroad at our own expense.
Take care of their
They can afford to go to private hospitals. A lot of us from our own tax money because we are taking care of them. But unfortunately, those of us who are the taxpayers are the ones that don't have the attention of doctors because there are no doctors in public health institutions. So at this juncture, and the question is, it's not enough for you to lament. It's a function of what are the factors that are, leading to the exodus. What are the factors leading to the exodus of these doctors, these health practitioners? Not just doctors, because there's also this tendency for us to only think that it's only the doctors that are leaving. Nurses are leaving. Lab scientists, all of them, they are leaving. And at the end of the day, see, these people, why are they leaving? The condition, the work environment. They lack the facilities to work with. The remuneration is poor. Imagine getting hazard allowance of 5,000 naira. Many promises that are unfulfilled by government and so many other things like that. So a lot of them feel like, if I'm not wanted here, there are so many other people that want my services, that have the facilities that I want to work. Imagine me looking at a patient. I know what I can do to save this person, but I don't have what it takes to work with. And people in government would allocate billions and the money will never get to these hospitals.
To health sectors.
So it's for us to look at those factors, that are leading them to leave this country, and not just for us to complain.
All right, thank you very much. On this note, we'll have to draw the curtain for today's news review. I mean, your humble host, EMIOLA, ABDULHAMID, name, and with me,
OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. See you next week, God willing.
Yeah, thank you. Stay tuned.